but no one's trying to knock you over while you're up in crow pose. No one's trying to hit you with a stick. And to me, it's that element that makes it martial, that it's not just about you trying to better yourself, it's someone trying to stop you. That makes it so interesting to me. It makes it so you have to dig to a deeper level to really know yourself and to manage those emotions that come up.
Hello, everyone. This is James Cox with the Martial Arts Lifestyle. We are in episode number 39. We're excited to be here today. Now, this is our first interview that we're doing via Zoom, and I have a very special guest that we reach out to that is one of the top martial arts podcasts. So for us to be able to interview another fellow martial artist and podcaster, I'm excited and confident that you're going to have some good value and content for us today. We're inside of our martial arts school. This is near Halloween, so that's the decor that we have around here in the background. And let's get some things kicked off, literally. So I'll let you introduce yourself, sir, but this is Ando, short for Andrew, and he has a Fight for a Happy Life podcast. I listened to some episodes, very interesting, great stuff, man. I loved it. You're in a North Carolina area right now, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, sir, and martial arts journey and, your podcast.
Grandmaster James, it's an honor to speak with you, sir. And let me get through my life story as quickly as possible so we can get to the really good stuff. I'm sure we'll find something to argue and fight about. So let's get to that.
All right.
Now, my story is pretty common. I was just a young man looking for direction and saw Bruce Lee. And I really liked the fact that he was a small guy, not like Arnold or Sly at the time. And he just had so much confidence. And he seemed to have so much control of himself. And I just thought, wow, whatever he's doing, I want to do. And at the time, I didn't know anything about Wing Chun or specifically what he was doing. I just knew martial arts. So got his Dao Jeet Kune Do book and started trying to train myself in the garage with a couple of buddies. And that lasted for a couple of years, ran out of buddies, and then went out and eventually found a school and took it more seriously. And it has continually changed my life for the better, which is why I'm 52 now. And I still practice every day. I'm still always meeting new martial artists and exposing myself to new ideas and training ideas. And I'm hooked for sure. But that's because I'm addicted to that transformation that I experienced early on, just that going from that insecure kid who just didn't really know what to make of himself or the world. And martial arts just gave me that hook into something that really started answering questions. And so that's why I'm addicted to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, in a nutshell, that's why I'm into martial arts.
Yeah, man. We have a similar story. We're actually the same age too, but 52 is the new 42.
So they say.
Martial arts definitely has a way of keeping you younger, the philosophical long life and happiness, right? The mind,
Absolutely.
body, and spirit growing and continued challenge, struggle at times, but the continued challenge to help us grow and improve. And, there's a lot to given to others so that we can get that ourselves. And I think that helps us in the martial arts world. Well, that's awesome, man. Yep. Why do you do this? And, again, similar stories, but is there a deeper why? There's obviously a passion because you're taking the time, you've spent the money, the effort, the energy, the sacrifice, a lot of other things that you could be doing. So could you tell us a little bit about your deeper why?
Sure. How can I not share what happened to me with other people? Maybe it's not for everybody, but it's like if you go to a restaurant that serves great food, what do? You tell your friends about it. Hey, you got to go to this place. I want to share in it. That's the next level of enlightenment. You have something that you find for yourself that's great, makes you happy. Then the next best pleasure is to share it with other people and watch them have that same experience. So it just seemed natural that I would want to teach this stuff someday because it was the most profound tool that I had ever run across to change my life for the better. So specifically, I think in this world, it's very easy for outside influences to tell you who you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing and judge you the whole time. And martial arts, if it's taught properly, I think, gives you a chance to just become a blank slate again, to take away whatever got stuck into you when you were a kid, when you weren't looking, and whatever influences maybe you didn't know were on you back as a kid. And you get this chance just to kind of wipe it all out and start rebuilding. If you don't go through the military, boot camp is similar in that idea that you just kind of get stripped away of your identity and let's start from scratch. So for me, the deep why for for teaching martial arts is to help other people, if they can, let go of any of the influences that maybe push them into a self-destructive path, or just not a path that makes them happy and fulfilled, and give them a chance to say, hey, look, let's just away all that stuff. Let's break you down to your core essence, and let's get you in a position where you feel confident enough to choose who you want to be, what you want to do, and push away all the bad influences. And I shouldn't even say bad, but just influences that you didn't choose. So to me, martial arts, that sounds all very kind of vague. I get that. But when you get punched in the face, that is really a kind of like a reset your barometer. Like, whoa, what is that? You come in with ego. I did. You come in with a sense of, I'm good at this, I'm not good at that. And then you get punched. And then all of that gets shuffled a little bit. And then do you come back? That tells you a little bit about yourself. Do you get better? That tells you a little bit about yourself. Can you listen to the teaching? Can you go and practice? Can you keep coming back? And in that process, somewhere you start finding out how tough you really are. And you start making more decisions for yourself. How much am I going to train? How hard am I going to go in this round? How much am I willing to take before I start making changes? So to me, martial arts is just this wonderful process of building up and then breaking down, and then building up and then breaking down. And all that time, you just get to a purer and purer version of you, if it's done properly, in my opinion. So that sounds a little maybe vague, but I know you.
Oh man, that was perfectly said. I definitely understand and agree. You know, martial and military, very similar. Of, you know, stripping some of that away. Hopefully, some pride and ego. If not, then you will eventually be humbled. You know, in the right martial arts academy, and have some self-awareness to find out more about yourself and you know what you need to do. You know, our made me think real quick. I know our area in the city I live in, there were some debates going on about school uniforms in the public school systems. And when I was looking at some of the pros and cons, it made me think of martial arts. You know, when you let's say there's a student, I mean, it can be an adult class of 25 people walking in, but they're all wearing a uniform that looks identical. They're wearing a belt. You don't know who is rich, who is poor, who is a doctor, who is a janitor. You don't know who's gone through serious struggles in their life, who, you know, just overcame, I don't know, a battle with cancer, whose parents just passed away. So many stories, so many different struggles. But there for a minute when we're on the mat, there is a little more equalness, right? And that's powerful, I feel. And, you know, what we do and how we can do that. That's pretty awesome.
Everyone is equal in having the potential to improve themselves wherever they are, whatever their age is, their physical fitness level, their psychology, their self-esteem. Everyone has a chance equally to improve. Depending on what level you want to go to, that's up to you and how much time you have on the planet. But we are all equal. We're all there, hopefully, for the same types of reasons, improvement on some front. And we all have the chance to do it if we work hard and respect each other to help each other get there. So yes, I agree. It's a wonderful it's a wonderful process. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and we start somewhere, you know. I mean, what's the difference in time? I mean, Bill Gates or the homeless guy under the bridge have 24 hours a day, you know. Now, resources, sure, makes a big difference, but where you start is where you start. And then if you progress forward or, you know, go backwards, that's a little bit more in your control and how you you know, do the things. Yeah, of course. So what have you learned from the podcast, and, you know, maybe something that you didn't expect that you were going to learn?
Well, yeah, I'm coming up on my 10-year anniversary of starting a website. And I started with the podcast and articles and podcasts because I didn't think videos would work for me. And then after the podcast was kind of dormant for a year or two, I thought, before I shut this down, how about I start some videos? And the videos picked up steam, which brought a few more people to the podcast. But I would say overall in the whole venture, podcasting, videos, and having an internet presence, the biggest surprise has just been how many nice people there are out there, how many like-minded people there are. I didn't start this stuff until I was over 40. And I had kind of become very cynical and, you know, lost friends and had some, you know, relationships I didn't think were so hot. So I very much was just to myself and just said, that's enough. I'm married and that's good enough. And so, of course, you have these types of misgivings about putting yourself out into the internet. Everything was a horror story about the comments and the haters and the trolls. I thought, why would I put myself through that? That's not a happy life. That's the wrong path. But I also felt, again, it was my duty. My life had been changed so beneficially by so many good teachers. And it's my turn to turn around and start passing some of this stuff on. I was over 40. I was like, okay, if I don't do this now, I'll never do it. So it's time to start giving back. And I actually launched my website on Thanksgiving Day of 2012. In that spirit, it's like, this is it. I want to start giving back. I want to offer something. And to my my surprise, my pleasant surprise, my shock, the feedback has been wonderful. I've only met nice people. The haters have been very few. And many of those haters have ended up turning into fans, because when you answer them back with some understanding or a smile, they often say, oh, I was just, blowing off steam, or, hey, I didn't really mean that, or actually, I like your channel. So I've actually had very little hate. And that has been the biggest lesson, that I find that really what you put out is what you'll get back. If you put out a podcast and videos critical of other people, making fun of other people, then you will get people who like that vibe and will come over and mock you and make fun of you. If you come out just saying, hey, I'm not the greatest guy in the world, but hey, I'm going to share stuff that I like. Hopefully you'll like it too. And if you don't like it, that's okay too. Go somewhere else. And by starting with that kind of vibe, it's, I think, served me very well. But yeah, to find so many people who I now call friends, who I've met through the internet and have met in real life afterwards, it's just been remarkable. So really my sense of humanity is so much happier and more optimistic. And I know now that I've got contacts and friends, people all over the world, which I never would have thought was possible pre-internet or pre-getting on the internet and starting a website. But, the more you put yourself out there and you get these emails and, oh, I'm a young man in Kenya, I'm a young person in Vietnam, and it's just incredible. So as we get older and we think about legacy and what we're passing on, to be in the age of the internet where your words and your lessons can reach an untold number of people after we're gone, and these videos are still playing and podcasts are still being listened to, I know there's an audience for them, and I do believe this is still good work. So congratulations on your current, episode number 39.
Yes,
Keep it going, my friend. Keep it going, because it's definitely, the more we put out, the better.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And man, congratulations on your longevity of what you've done with the online presence, the podcast, and the other things. And man, I know you've touched a lot of lives in ways you don't even know. It's the same way we never necessarily know when you're talking to a group, or the ability, right now to connect with people all over the world. It's insane, for sure. Yeah, you're paying it forward, and that's a good thing to do for sure. Yeah, man, dealing with the haters, the keyboard warriors, that can be tough. I like a lot of what Gary Vee says, and and ways to deal with some of that. But it is almost more to be compassionate than it is that be too defensive or negative. Just the negativity is just going to create more negativity for sure.
Yeah,
but you have to deal with that.
Yeah, just a little bit. Most people looking for a fight aren't going to want to fight with me, because I'm not looking to fight. And people who want to fight find other people who want to fight, which is just like real life. I mean, the internet is just an extension of what you'll find in real life. What do you do in self-defense? If someone's in your face and starting to bark at you, if you puff up and start barking back, you're going to have a fight. If you say, hey, it's okay, you're having a bad day, let me give you a little space, let me just bring this down a little, I don't want to fight you. You kick my ass. I get that. Then you can diffuse these things, and you can answer everybody with compassion. You can answer everyone with a little patience. So I have found the same skills that you would use in real life are the same skills you use on the internet. I don't think they're that different, really. Yeah.
Man, I love that comparison. Again, what you may say versus what you may type or chat with, right? Very similar.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah. So what have you dealt with more that may be controversial, or just, and a lot of martial artists, we have debates. I mean, I debate with my jujitsu friend of my striking being better than his jujitsu. And sometimes it's humor and, just messing around with people. But of course, when you do something and you're confident and for facts, it's been proven, that your method is very successful or works here. Now, I'm a believer of being good at everything versus being great at one thing, and that all martial arts has its place and its benefits for the most part. But so you probably deal with a lot of controversy and debate. Do you have any that kind of come to mind?
Sure, of course. I think you said three things right there that I disagree with. So,
All right.
but no, I think, like you said, any conversation, whether it's about movies or food, you're going to have differences of opinion, and it's not really a right or wrong, other than your life. Life is short. Our training time is certainly short. So I can't hope to be great at everything or see every style or work with every teacher. So at some point, especially as I get older and the body doesn't recover as quickly, I know that there's a cap on my decisions. Like I need to say, okay, these are the most important training methodologies for me. I'm going to stick to those. That's my focus, and everything else is kind of fun on the side. If I have time, then I can check this out or check that out. And I take that pressure off myself now as an older man to try to see everything, do everything, and just stay endlessly open-minded. At some point, I think you do have to kind of close the gate and say, I need to work on what I've been given. My teachers that I've was blessed enough to run into, I need to go do that work. And it's almost an insult to go around new toys and new shiny things. And, oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, that doesn't show much faith in what you've already been given. So that might be a side rant. One of the other topics I know that comes up a lot lately, on the one hand, I'm one of the people who says that, hey, martial arts is for everybody. And I absolutely believe that on some level. You don't have to be an elite athlete. You don't have to be someone just looking to compete and get trophies. You can improve your life many different ways in many different categories. So yeah, I think that's great. But on the other hand, I do believe there has to be a martial component to everybody's training. Otherwise, you can't really say it's martial arts. So most recently, that conversation has been coming up a bit between myself and a couple of people I respect of how much martiality do you need to be still considered a martial art? Or at what point do you start just becoming like a yoga program or a swimming program or a rock climbing program? You can build character skills in anything. But to me, what makes martial arts unique is that you have a conflict with another person on some level, whether that's point sparring, whether that's grappling, whether that's tag sparring, whatever you're doing, there has to be someone trying to mess you up. If you go to a yoga class, that's cool. You will find centeredness and calm and connection and spirituality if you wish, but no one's trying to knock you over while you're up in crow pose. No one's trying to hit you with a stick. And to me, it's that element that makes it martial, that it's not just about you trying to better yourself. It's someone trying to stop you. That makes it so interesting to me and makes it so you have to dig to a deeper level to really know yourself and to manage those emotions that come up when someone's trying to screw you up. So to me, lately, that issue's been coming up. What's your feeling?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think you have to have contact. You have to train. I think you have to have some sort of sparring. It doesn't have to be, because you need to face unpredictableness. You need to face resistance. The traditional, if you call them one steps or self-defense drill, and I'm going to step and I'm going to throw a right hand punch. I'm going to let you block, do your drills. That's great. Right. You learn confidence, you learn to get hit a little bit, you learn, flow and hitting the right areas with the right targets, self-defense training. But what is better than just go freestyle and that resistance? I think you need that. I remember from the Taibo to aerobic kickboxing days. Now that's a different form and it has a great purpose, man. Let's burn calories and get off the treadmill and hit bags. And we know we're not signing up for any contact, but you can't call that necessarily martial arts. You call it fitness martial arts, I guess. There was some advertisements going around for a while, and they were proud of it to promote a school that was saying no contact martial arts. That made me pretty sick at my stomach because we train hard and we make contact. All of my students to that level, age appropriate, rank specific. I come from a mixed martial art background because Kajukembo is my base style. And it's from the beginning, from 1947, it's combined different arts. So I never really knew or grown up to doing one style, I get it. I get that focus, but I can grow with that variety, Kajukembo based to MMA based. But yeah, man, you got to have some martial in your art and reverse that philosophy. You got to have some art in your martial. That means you have the life skills. You have the understanding, you have the respect and the discipline. I think there was someone said once, what's the difference in a street fighter and a martial artist? They both kick and punch and throw and bite and scratch. Well, the difference is morals, ethics, things like that. But yeah, no, I definitely agree.
Look at you, bad-mouthing street fighters. Oh, this would be a controversial episode.
Hey, street fighters are dangerous. Dangerous,
No
but
morals.
yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, is it how is it also escalated? We didn't maybe know all the situations. Why is he a street fighter? Because his brother-in-law made him mad at the barbecue, or because he pulled a knife on someone at the ATM machine. No, that's a straight criminal. But yeah, you got to respect some street fighters. Look at some of the early UFC entries, from Kempo Slice to some other people.
Sure.
Dangerous people, man.
Oh, sure. Yeah. And the people on the other side of that, I think we agree on the art side of it. If you're into it for the philosophy or the sociability or the spirituality or the fitness, that's all great. But again, you could do all of that in any activity. But when you introduce the conflict part of it, the actual fighting part, the struggle part of it, through grappling or free sparring on some level, that's when you get to a whole other set of character traits and character development that you don't get in those other things. So and I believe that part of that comes with the morality, because you start to respect. When you're getting hit, you can't help but respect everybody, right? If I've got a gun and you've got a gun, okay, I respect that you've got a gun too.
Yeah.
If I'm the only one with a gun, then I don't need to respect you. But when I get into a room and I realize, hey, people here could knock me out, people here could tap me out, you whether you like it or not, you have to show respect. You can't come in and just be a bully. So I like the way martial arts has this kind of weeding out of bad characteristics. If you're in a good gym and good guidance, I mean, all these things have good examples and bad examples. But for the most part, my experience has been in really with good teachers and patient teachers and wise teachers who can really help guide people through the deeper character traits. When you're getting choked, live or die, can you do that? I think that's the necessary path that you have to take to be really a martial artist. Everything else is great. I love yoga, but it's not enough for me.
Yeah, I bet we could have a great discussion, because I don't know your belief on it, but on kata, forms, patterns, pinyons. I came up with Kajukembo, and we did a lot of forms. We did a lot of kata. Man, early on, it was so much, I couldn't believe it. We would do 3 forms per belt. That seemed ridiculous. It takes a lot of time. I competed for decades and forms competitions and weapons, self-defense. I did every division that there were at a tournament just to compete. I just loved competing in martial arts. A few years ago, we pretty much took kata out of our base curriculum, our lesson plans. I still do them for certain teams, for my advanced teams, for a demo team. We still do combinations. The decision was, of course, we run big schools, and we're back to back, and we don't have 3-hour classes like I grew up. They're typically about an hour long. It was like, man, the use of time that I have, is it better to do self-defense, to do some sparring, some grappling, instead of spending so much time on kata? Because kata takes a lot of time to develop.
Yes.
I know there are some benefits. I know there is some value, but can I get more out of punching a bag or punching a person? I say yes. I say if you don't have the time to really get the worth out of it, just don't do it, or else you're half-assing something, basically,
Yeah, I do know. I totally understand that approach. Class time is precious. And in my opinion, the gold standard is having a training partner. So when your students come to a class, you want to make every moment you can to count with partners. You don't want to have 20 people show up and everyone goes to their separate silos as if they're at home, just doing something on their own. They could do push-ups at home. They could do kata at home, but that's the point. So the only trick is, like, if there is value in the kata and forms, and I think there is value, it's what you do when you don't have a partner. Then if that's a workshop on the side, if that's a DVD that you sell to your people or a stream that you sell to your students on the side to say, look, coming to class is great. You guys will progress. You'll get your ranks. But just so you know, as a teacher, I feel these are really helpful tools for you. If you're at home, you don't have a bag, you don't have a partner, here's some things that can keep you sharp and get you to work on all these different qualities in your body and your mindset. You might want to put a little bit of time into working on one of these things. And if you ever want a little quick, I can help you and give you some tips on the side, or you want to do a private lesson about it, just know that this technology exists in the martial arts and we do have them here. There is an option if you want it. It's not a requirement, but here is something for all you A+ students. If you really want this extra stuff, then maybe that's another way to offer it to people, you know?
Yeah, I think so. Also think
Yeah.
that if you didn't do that, the other approach for their at-home practice would be shadow fighting. But you have to teach students how to shadow fight. And you could compare shadow fighting and kata. It's just one is more choreographed, more specific, so detail oriented, in a kata being done perfectly. And shadow fighting is kind of you creating combinations, building confidence in them. You can still get a lot of the benefits from shadow fighting as you can in kata, but it might be closer to reality based. But you got to teach people how to shadow fight. You know, I see it as active meditation almost, but I guess the kata could be as well.
Yeah, I'll take issue with that just for the fun of it. The with the key word I think that you used there was create. If you're shadow boxing, you're the one who gets to create the combinations, and your imagination is probably very specific. You're actually imagining, oh, that's a hook, so I'm doing this specific response to that imagined attack. Kata, depending on how you practice it, doesn't have to be as specific. It can be a technology for training your body to have certain sensations and feelings and movement habits that then you just like lifting weights. You don't use a bench press in a fight. You go through that form, you develop your body in this certain groove. And then when you fight, you don't think about bench pressing. Same with jumping rope. You don't jump rope in a fight. You use it as a way to condition your body to build a certain habit and quality, and then that will help your fighting. So same with kata. Kata doesn't have to be every bunkai, every time I move this way, I'm picturing taking someone down and then this one's a punch. That would be a very limited way to confine your practice to say, oh, this is all I know are these 26 techniques. But if you use it as an alternative or an addition to jumping rope, shadow boxing, where I'm not going to create, I don't have to worry about the creative part. I can just focus on the physicality of where is my weight? Where is my alignment? Where is my timing? Where is my focus? Am I fully aware of where each hand is, where each foot is? There's so many different ways you can use the kata to enhance your body feel and your body confidence and your timing and all these other things, and then let all that go. Now go shadow box. And I believe it's probably going to enhance whatever it is you're doing. It's just another way to approach it. And even in that respect, some of the crazier forms that you see with some movements that seem really unorthodox, you don't even have to answer the question like, well, that's actually a throw from wrestling and you didn't know that, and blah, blah, blah. You can get lost in those weeds forever.
Oh, yeah.
But just to learn how to coordinate your body through unorthodox positions, again, is training your body that if you get shoved from behind in the real fight and get smashed over the head with a bottle, you're going to end up in unorthodox positions. So the more you can train your body to work through weird cross-legged stances and getting up and getting down and arms behind your back, you're just finding another way to kind of play with your body dynamics so that you're kind of ready for anything. It's just one other thought about, since I'm ranting, I might as well.
No, I like that. Good points. Good points. Maybe it's about the time, or heck, do both. Do your four-man shadow fight, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's whatever
other
tools,
tools,
is your journey.
Yeah, other tools in your tool pouch, which I think you can have too many tools. You know enough to to get yourself hurt, right? Or versus maybe even not having enough. And that perfect balance, the yin and yang, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We all have, and it could change over time. Maybe in the beginning, you learn a kata so that the beginners can on their own demonstrate something that really enhances their skills. But maybe down the road, then you're free of the kata. You don't need the form. It was a boat that got you across, and now you have things in your body that you can practice in other ways. So yeah, it's all up to you, your journey, how much time you're going to put into it, what you want out of it. I probably agree on that.
And I could very well change in 10 years from now, and then we're doing katas once again. It's just the culture in the schools, or where I grew up with the benefits of kata. My student base currently are not getting those benefits, but they're getting benefits I didn't get then. I wasn't doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu then, or this or that. Question I've asked a lot of masters, grandmasters, students this question, which could be silly and it could go in a lot of directions, but if you had to choose one technique, because I've had people ask me, I'm sure they've asked you, what is the best move, the best skill, this one technique that you would do if you only could really learn one martial arts technique, what would it be?
That's hard to narrow down. Yeah, I'm gonna go with all right, look, there's sprinting is always great. Sprinting to me is the all-purpose super exercise, because you can run away from trouble and you can run straight into somebody and take it to them. So the feeling that you get when you sprint, because like I said, I don't think training is just physical. There's the spiritual element to it. And, if you go jogging, that's very different than if you're sprinting as fast as you can for 50 yards. So the feeling that you get when you just say, go, and you run as fast as you can, and it's a full body movement and it's a full committed movement. I want that kind of spirit. If someone pushes me back and I can't run and I need to go in and fight, I want to have that same feeling of the sprint where I'm just going to run right into this guy and take you out. On the other hand, if there's gunfire or there's some situation where I cannot be effective, then I need to run and get the hell out of there as fast as I can. So sprinting to me is kind of an all-in-one super exercise. I know that's not necessarily a martial arts technique. If I had to go that way, I'd say headbutt. But sprinting is going to be my number one. Maybe even screaming your head off is a great technique. If your arms are tied up, you're getting dragged, whatever it is. Scream, make as much noise as you can. I think for self-defense, that's helpful. And then the headbutt would have to be, if I have to reduce it down to a move, then I'd say headbutt, because that's something, even a baby, if you hold a baby and they clunk you with their head, you go, wow, that's effective. And trying to ask someone to throw a hook or do something, my mother or people who don't train, or it's a headbutt, even if they're being grabbed, they can always kind of lean in with that head and at least start a shift in momentum a little bit. So that's a more physical answer for you. Headbutt.
I like your understanding of sprinting. You never put track with martial arts, but I like it, what you were kind of describing as that adrenal rush and that 0 to 60, right? Really having to take off.
Right.
Yeah, I've asked a lot of people that question. I've gotten a lot of different answers. Front kick, a palm heel. I have had people say just run, but they didn't explain it as good as you did there. I like just a stance, just standing the ground with knowing how to stand in a nice defensive guard, passive stance, and maximizing balance, minimizing targets, and having that head up, chest out, that confident with the right eye contact, sense of awareness, and knowing your surroundings. So I think a stance goes a long ways, but how to fight without fighting, right?
Absolutely. A good stance has a preventative value to it. And if it goes the other way, then you're prepared to launch whatever you need to. So being able to, under pressure, find a stance physically and emotionally. Good answer. I like that too.
Yeah. That's all right, man. We're finding good compromises here. Well, let's maybe close with anything else you want to say, or if just kind of overall about martial arts. I mean, what's some of the best things? What's some of the worst things? I'm sure we have pet peeves. I mean, there are things about martial arts. I told you about the art of martial arts with no contact that can literally make me want to throw up in my mouth, right? So, certain things there. Well, what are any of yours best and worst, likes and dislikes?
Well, as we get older, especially, the worst part is, it's going to take a toll on your body. There's no way around it. There's just no way around it. Now, on the other hand, exactly. I'm always, especially now, after the age of my late 30s is when I've just been constantly juggling one or more something, tweaks, injuries, something. But I could say that's the worst part. But on the other hand, any of my friends who don't train, whether they do golf or baseball or don't do anything, they have knee operations. They've got bad shoulders. They've got also. So I think we all degrade no matter what happens. At least the value that we get out of our training, I think, far outweighs any little hardships or some Advil once in a while. It's not that bad because we're all going down. We're all going down. It's how much did I acquire before I went down? And I still think martial arts, the more you put in, the more you get out. I just think it's still the best deal going, even with those injuries. But certainly, I would say that's the worst part, that you just kind of go, I want to go to class today. I want to, so that kind of, that little caution thing, I think, is the worst part of it. But again, the best part is the value, the benefits. It's just, they've never stopped for me. I don't understand when people quit and give up.
Right.
I mean, I understand maybe if you joined a program that wasn't right for you, a style, a teacher, a vibe, a culture, sure, that's valid. But so many people, first of all, are afraid to even start. So that's one issue. Then there are these people who start and then they don't like the experience and they quit and they give up on all martial arts instead of just saying, well, maybe that just wasn't the right school. It's not like you say, hey, I moved to a new town. I'm going to go out and try some restaurants. And you go to the first restaurant, you hate it, and say, I'm not going to eat out anymore. I'm just going to, eat at home. So you don't give up on food. You don't give up on movies. You don't give up on anything else like that. Books, dating, anything. But for some reason, there's so many people say, oh, yeah, I used to do martial arts. Yeah, I was at this Kempo school, and the guy hurt my arm. So I was like, that's enough of that. I'm like, what? That's page one of your story. Why did it end there? What are you talking about? So anyway, yeah, the worst part is quitter. I changed my answer, not the injury. The worst part is that so many people quit and they don't need to. So I hope we can always be a good welcome mat to welcome people in of all kinds and let them know, try again, try here, try for the first time, try for a second time, try for a third time. Be a welcome place where people are comfortable to come in and give it another try. However we can get that message out. That's a separate rant, but yeah.
Yeah,
I know
that.
you're doing a good job. You've got 2 locations now, right? So clearly you're doing something right to welcome people. And through COVID, no less, you were able to keep your doors open and keep going. So congratulations on being a place where people feel comfortable to come in and improve themselves. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah. You know, I don't know much, but I know martial arts. So I'm going to stick to that.
Well, you clearly know more than just martial arts, right? Give yourself credit because I know from other of your episodes, you know, you learned your business sense over time, a lot of things the hard way, and then find other people to help you with systems and all that stuff. Great. Okay. So you have business stuff. You've got your skills, your hard work. You've been training your whole life, lots of competition. So you got tons of experience, open mind. So that's 2 big pieces of it. But then there's this third piece. Do you care about your students? Are you paying attention to them? Are you nurturing them the right ways? Do you recognize that different people have different goals and different strengths and weaknesses on that journey? And do you know how to encourage them to keep going the right ways and keep them out of the wrong way so they don't get hurt and have that bad experience? The fact that you're still open and have multiple locations and have enough students to make a living, that says a lot about you as a person, not just as a martial artist or a business person, but just as a person. People trust you with their kids. They trust you with their own bodies. Yeah. So give yourself credit for that.
Yeah,
you're far more than
right.
just, well, I know martial arts. Yeah. You're doing everything.
I appreciate that for sure. Yeah. Yeah. We don't hear people who continue the martial arts regretting that they continued it, but you're exactly right what you're saying. There's a whole lot of people, I hear it daily, that regret it. And then for some reason they feel it's too late. You know, I have ages 3 to 73, so I don't know necessarily when it's too late, but you know, quitting on something, because you're right about how they think we're all the same.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I went here and had a bad experience. Side note, but similar, I was talking with some people to get into the school systems to teach a presentation to the kids, you know, about life skills and good grades and using the martial arts through that. And of course, it's promotion for us and things like that. But they had a bad experience with another martial artist, so they're not letting no martial artist in the school. But we're different, you know?
Exactly. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Ando, Andrew with the Fight for a Happy Life podcast, right? You guys be sure, all my listeners, go and follow and subscribe, like, comment, share, do all those things. A lot of episodes, and you know, anything to conclude with? Any finish here?
No, I'm honored to speak with you. Like I said, the greatest surprise of being on the internet is how many great people you can run into and how many like minds you can run into. So I always believe that there are way more good people than there are bad people, but the bad people get all the attention because so many good people either don't know what to do or won't do anything about it. So to build a bridge like this, I'm so honored that you reached out. I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk. And now I know I got a friend in Abilene. So, and you got a friend in Raleigh. Yeah, I think that's how we do it. We work together, we fight together, we improve together, and we get rid of the insecurities that make people do stupid things. I really think we can change a lot for the good. Yeah. So thank you for your good work.
Let's keep doing it, man. It's about empowering lives. Well, again, I appreciate you as well. Let's stay in touch.
Yes, sir.
Thanks a lot, guys. Hey, be sure to follow our YouTube channel as well. And you guys just keep being the best versions of yourself. Thanks.